Just treat it like an Uber Elder. That's my setup, I think. Like that's what I'm running. Faster casting. I'm thinking maybe I try and global it with like a conch instead, but I don't know. I don't want to die. I'm so young. Ah! That's not fair. Okay, so that was a shield charge it looked like. So I wanna not be near him when he first spawns. Hey guys, it's Mathil here once again, and that's what my very first all attempt for the entire 3-month league looked like. It took me 3 months to actually find all, and this one has additional fire damage, additional cold damage, increased area, and onslaught. So it's a pretty tough customer, and it's in Delve 450. So I don't unfortunately get to learn the fight on a regular all, it has to be on what I'm dubbing Uber all. And basically the problem here is that I have been in the complete dark about this fight. I haven't looked at any videos, I haven't seen any action of all, I haven't fought him on any other characters from anyone else's alls, and I just purely want to learn it by myself as I go to figure out the mechanics and see how I can best approach the fight. So there's quite a lot of trial and error in this sort of thing, and as you can see, it's pretty rough and a steep learning curve, especially when he has onslaught, and I'm not at all sure that my character can even do it. A whole lot of my attempts looked exactly like this, where I would start, I'd try and whirl around, I'd try and avoid him, I'd do my best to keep Fortify up, and then I'd get one shot to something stupid. Basically, his auto attack, a charge, a whirl, a big sweeping AoE that he does, and it was just really tough to try and figure out what the boss does, how I'm supposed to do it, and if my character can do it. And it was, like I said, a bit of a steep learning curve. I had to adjust the character in the end. I tried it out on my other character. This phase here, I had no idea what was going on. I tried to break all of these pillars, which, as I learned, was just a bad thing to do because it spawns greater area of chilled stuff that also does damage and then has mobs inside the chilled area that actually shoot at you, and on top of that it gives him another phase that he's normally not supposed to have. So it took a good 20 or so attempts to even just suss out the very beginning of the fight and whether or not I should be doing this or if I can, and it was actually quite tough to progress past the first couple of percent. So it did very early on look absolutely impossible and like I wasn't going to get anywhere. However, similar to a raid boss in WoW, it is just about persistence, it is about adjusting for the situation, learning the attacks, and slowly yet surely you do start to chip away percent by percent, hour by hour, and you get a little bit further and better at the fight, and hopefully progress can be made. Now before we go any further with this fight, I just want to give you some context that this was some of the easiest endgame I've performed on this character. Uber Elders were an absolute joke once you've learned the fight mechanically, but, you know, similar to how all functions, if I didn't have a shitload of attempts at Uber Elder before this, if I didn't learn the mechanics, it would still be kinda tough. It's just the fact that I now know the fight and I can breeze through all of these phases, the attacks, the mechanics, and then, as I'm showing you here, it ends up being quite a joke for a character like this, and then this all that I'm now showing you is on another level altogether, and actually learning it is a bit of a process in itself, figuring out exactly what it needs to be taken down with for this character, which ended up involving respecking just a little bit. Are we ready to tank a hit? My pog is ready. Ah, lag. Oh, took a hit! But I didn't push him over with a Val BV. Fuck. Oh, fuck that! That's hitting me from that range. Jesus Christ, dude. So with a slight respec of my character, I then dropped my auras and I started running Mind over Matter so that I could have a much larger effective life pool. I had 6k life at that point with 2k mana on standby. I tried to keep Fortify up, and then it's about figuring out how I'm going to do this fight with the setup I had. So I was wondering whether I should be running Faster Casting, Spell Echo, or Conk Effect as my last support gem, because I wasn't quite sure which was going to be the best situation for me, whether just casting a little bit faster, whether casting a lot faster while locking myself down, or while doing more damage was the best solution for the character. And in the end, it did turn out to be that running Conk Effect, simply so that I can have a lot more damage and push phases a lot faster, was actually the right play. And one other thing I learned was the key moment to use my Vile Blade Vortex and Vile skills, because if you use it at the very start of the fight, you can only get about 10% of his life down, and not only that, but the first couple of seconds he has an immunity phase, so you don't actually do any damage, and I was just dropping a Vile Blade Vortex for no reason, basically, because it wasn't doing any damage to him, and it wasn't the greatest use because he'd go straight into his little charge phase if you push about 10% of his life. So the ability to take a second hit with my newfound tankiness and Mind over Matter was actually kind of a game changer, because being able to make a mistake and then still move on and recover and then prep yourself for another mistake is absolutely colossal. If you're going into this fight with just the I cannot get hit by anything sort of playstyle and mentality, it's going to be absolutely brutal, and I'm not at all sure I could have done it. So thanks to the fact that I could then take that second hit, I could start learning this stuff a bit better, and also actually having mistakes that don't cost me my life, proceeded to then let me get some progress. And that was the furthest attempt I had in many runs, and I could start to see a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. Okay. Lag. No. I'm sorry, what? Oh my god. Did that like basically do a 360 just then? Well, that's the best attempt so far. What do you reckon that's at? Like 10%? He's down to the last 10? Yeah, he's almost dead. Pretty good. So from what was initially impossible, and you couldn't see any more than 1% of progress, I started to get somewhere and see some sort of hope. And I then learned that he had an ad phase at around 50%, where he goes into pure darkness and starts to spawn a bunch of ads. And when he comes out, he's in another sort of phase where he looks a bit different and has modified his attacks just a little bit. And at that point, I was starting to feel pretty confident about the progress I had made. Next phase, what's happening? Ah! Ads. Okay. I can dig it. I put Blood Rage on, though I'm not sure that's the right move. I did it. does mean I'm probably going to have Blood Rage up for the first little bit of his next phase. And I don't know if I like that. Oh, big lag spike. No! Ah, ah, ah! No, I fucked it up. No! No! Fuck! Look at... Oh, I was going so well and I made so many mistakes and yet it still let me live. Like, there was so many points where it was fine, even though it shouldn't have been. So I was like lucky to get that far. So I was then getting the boss really quite low, and it was just up to a matter of refining what I'm doing and fucking it up just a little bit less. It did follow up with a couple more close calls, and then eventually I was starting to believe, and the chat was believing, and we were all just so ready for this kill to happen. And, well, like I said, what looked impossible started to look extremely possible, and by the end of it, I'd learnt the fight well enough, and the progress that I'd made was good enough that I could definitely start to push into the second phase, and a near kill on every attempt. So it really is all about the practice and about learning the mechanics at the end of the day to actually dodge his shit when he first spawns. So he's probably coming out soon. Hold me, chat. No! No! Are you kidding me? I thought he was like dead or pushing a phase or some shit. Bear in mind, I have Cull as well. But then that came out and it threw me totally off. I have Cull. That was over. I had the higher ground, Anakin. So after a fair amount of close calls, I was definitely ready to put this boss down and move on with my life. Maybe try and find one that was just a bit easier and also get some more all experience in, and all of the culmination of the attempts of the entire 8 hours worth of runs, something like 40 or 50 deaths, was starting to come to an end. And then we have what is known as my first and only all kill for the entire Delve League. So I hope you guys enjoy the fight. Thank you for taking the journey with me, and I'll see you next time. Okay. I think I may have messed that up. Please push him. No, 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 no. What the fuck? I was so locked down. What phase am I in? This one again? God, where's the fucking ad phase? Here? Okay, good. Finally. Ah, fucking finally! And I've got pretty close to my next Vile Blade Vortex. If I can survive after this ad phase for like 5 seconds, I will get a Vile Blade Vortex and I will be able to kill him. That's all I've got to do. But it's also going to be timed right so he doesn't disappear when I first press it. Because he might be ready to do another little charge phase as soon as he comes back. I don't quite know. He's fucking berserking. I don't like this. Oh god. Okay, so after this phase. Don't you do me like this all. Get fucked! I was here, chat.
M'lady.
I was fucking here. What is this? What do we get? Increased endurance charge duration. 5% damage per endurance charge. And 1% dodge attack hits per endurance charge. F's. I mean, the damage and the dodge ain't bad. The duration's trash, right? So I assume you can get
M'lady.
+1 endurance there instead, which makes it maybe worth using. Damn. Lawweave bait.